There's been a lot of talk about the 10 Commandments. Should we put them in front of courthouses? Should they be displayed in schools? Are these the 10 rules that shape the framing of our Constitution? Of course, my answer to all of these is no, because the 10 Commandments are surprisingly lacking in their ability to stop even the basics of social corruption: rape, assault, slavery, blackmail, domestic violence. And the majority of them are extremely arbitrary, like not working on Sunday, or is it Saturday? And the punishments for breaking these commandments are absurd. Being punished because one of your great-grandparents bowed down to an idol, for example? Most likely, the reason these American Christians want to display these commandments is because they can't remember them. According to an article from the Catholic News Service, linked below, fewer than 6 in 10 American respondents knew the commandment, "You shall not kill." Less than half knew the commandment, "Honor thy father and mother." 34% of Americans surveyed remember to keep the Sabbath day. 29% remember that they shouldn't have any other gods besides God. In a culture where roughly 80% of the population believes that Moses was a real person sent by God, this is laughably bad. Since the religious majority can't remember the 10 rules that they keep trying to push on the rest of us, I thought it might be a good idea to edit these rules before the posters are printed, the sculptures are made, and the curriculums in schools are changed. After all, as long as we keep the commandment about not killing, most of the faithful won't even notice we switch the others. Here's our chance to show that atheists are more moral than God, the alleged moral giver of hundreds of millions of believers everywhere. I'll start with changing the rule keeping the Sabbath day to don't abuse, either physically or sexually, children. A child in this case being anyone under the age of 5,000. Seems like I'm more moral than the entirety of the Catholic priesthood, which either breaks this rule, covers up for those that do, or willingly remains in a fraternity where such actions take place. Of course, here are all 11 of the 10 Commandments, since not all denominations have the same 10 Commandments. For you folks that don't follow the Abrahamic religions, and a reminder for those of you that do, because you obviously need it. 1. You shall have no other gods before me. 2. Thou shalt not make unto thee a graven image, bow before them, or serve them, or I will visit the iniquity upon you, your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren. 3. Don't take the Lord's name in vain. 4. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. What a vague term is holy. 5. Honor your father and mother so that your days may be long upon the land. 6. Don't kill. 7. Don't commit adultery. 8. Don't steal. 9. Don't bear false witness against your neighbor. Which, of course, you have to ask, is lying about my enemy okay? 10. Don't covet your neighbor's house. 11. Don't covet your neighbor's wife, manservant, maidservant, ox, ass, or any other property that belongs to your neighbor. Property. Wife. Okay. I group the 10 Commandments into 3 groups. The tyrannically silly, the incredibly obvious, and the rules against thinking. The first group, 1, 2, and 3, could be wrapped up in one commandment. Don't blaspheme. Giving God more room in his list to include something semi-useful like, thou shalt be excellent to one another. Of course, blasphemy is a victimless crime, so that's 3 slots freed up for me. The 4th is obviously unimportant to Christians, which decided to change the day to Sunday to compete with sun worship. So there's another silly rule gone. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 seem useful, but every single culture in the world seems to understand these rules because they are incredibly obvious. Tweaking number 9 to don't lie, it becomes much more effective, and getting rid of the death penalty from 5 seems necessary for anyone to live past their teenage years. 10 and 11 are rules against thinking. Interesting, especially since the death penalty seems to apply for each of these rules. Moses kills the followers of the golden cow. The man gathering sticks on Sunday is killed. Murderers and thieves are killed. Well, sure. Adulterers. Special case. It seems the enforcers of this rule prefer to drag the women before Jesus and not the men that were there, that had to be there, for this to be an action of adultery. And of course, this is only if your Bible has that story, which has been added and is not in the original text. Are these rules against thinking just there so that the religious authorities can kill anyone? It's impossible to prove you weren't thinking covetous thoughts. Of course, much could be said about a ruling religious class that passes the rule, don't be covetous. They're basically enforcing a rule that forces people to be content with their life no matter what their rulers do. Great control mechanism. Here's my list. Rule number 1, don't kill one another. It's a terrible way to resolve anything besides physical threats to yourself or another person, or severe untreatable pain suffered by another. 2, don't take things that aren't yours by force. That includes taking away a person's sense of safety. Raiding, theft, conquest, blackmail, intimidation, bullying, and rape. 3, don't hate others without cause. Don't prejudge one another. Hate should be reserved for a definite injustice. If someone's going slower than you in the fast lane, that isn't a good reason. 4, don't abuse, either physically or sexually, children. A child in this case being anyone under the age of 5,000. 5. Don't accept this list just because it was written down by someone you don't know very well. If you accept it, have a reason for doing so. And with the don'ts, there should be some do's. Do engage with your world and try to leave it better than you found it. In ye old English speak, thou shalt be excellent to each other. 7. Do pursue education and wisdom. Your mind is like a whittling knife. If it becomes dull, it won't produce anything worthwhile. 8. Do give other opinions a fair chance to make their point before you either accept or reject them. Just make sure you think about them honestly. 9. Do make your best effort to take care of all your responsibilities, and when you are able, help others take care of theirs. 10. Do tell the truth as best you are able. If a thing is better left unsaid, then don't say it, but don't lie to cover something up. You are harming the person that is listening to you.